Welcome back to the Stevens Playbook. I'm Michael,
I'm Matt.
and it's the end of the weekend for me. But the show goes on. The week, it'll be a test of grit and whatever else to make some productivity happen, but it's going to happen. I got some designs written out for these shirts, ordered some prints or some blanks, and got 2 solid gym sessions in this weekend, so that's pretty good. How
One
about
for
you?
each day.
One for each day, yeah, as opposed to like 2 per day. But the good things, I found out that books in the sauna don't do well. I
That,
mean, that's why it was splitting apart.
oh my goodness. Is that what happened to my book?
So,
He took my book. He's like, by the way, Matt, I think your book's falling apart. And
so if in case you're wondering, like time was flying, it was great, but I don't think the book can handle it. Now you know.
I was over there saying, don't worry, Michael, it's fine. Like, that just means we've used the book. And I didn't know you just abused it in the sauna.
Listen, I was reading in the sauna,
Uh,
and now the book went kaput. I don't know what to tell you. Hey, but you learn from things like that. So now,
where's the
now
book
you
now?
know.
Where's the
Oh,
book?
it's
Uh,
over on that table. I'm still reading it.
just all bandaged up and not
It
even bandaged up.
honestly, if we put a hot glue gun just through the hole in the spine and then bam, back to normal. Problem solving on the spot.
All right.
But at the end of the day, we got some good things from it still. I took a lot of notes from this chapter that I read, but what stuck out, it talked about the Southwest founder and how he went through hurdles and figured them out, and now Southwest is what it is. He said, or he gave a couple pieces of advice. He's 4 points that he wrote in the book, or he didn't write it, but it was written in the book from the founder of Southwest. First thing, stick to your ideas. As hurdles come and you find out that bad news or whatever happens, just continue on with that idea and maybe innovate, but just keep going and don't stop. I think there was another, it was in the next chapter, but there's another quote. It said, uh, quitters never win and winners never quit. So don't quit. Got anything?
Nope. It goes back to every other podcast we talk about. The person that wins is the person that thinks he can win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you hear a theme, it's because it's important. And so that's where we're going along. So the next point he said is think of what customers want and give it to them. So when you find a problem or you just figure out, what do customers want? That's what you need to tailor your product towards. And so that kind of goes back to our idea of small, um, the feedback loop, shortening the feedback loop. If we can put out something, get instant feedback on it, figure out, okay, well, people don't like this as much. They want to see more of this. Then that's going to allow us to innovate before it gets too late.
I feel like we talk about the feedback loop like every single day.
Yeah,
It's a big primary topic of ours, of getting stuff out there as fast as possible.
yeah. I see a lot of things about speed, and that's what I kind of aim for. Uh, Along with speed, you kind of sacrifice quality, but I think if you're making each loop, like we're talking about the feedback loop, you're getting to each point in the loop as soon as possible, you can go back and tailor those changes versus if you're trying to make it perfect from day one, it might take you 6 weeks or 6 months.
Mhm.
But if you shorten that to 1 day or 6 weeks, that's gonna be much better for the end goal of it. So feedback loop important. What do customers want? Give it to them. Sometimes you don't know what customers want, which is why you need that feedback. Next thing he says, overcome obstacles by taking positive steps to break them down. So there was a lot that was come up in Southwest's journey, from litigation to uh, financial issues. But at the end of the day, you need to figure out what are your obstacles and then overcome them by taking positive steps. Just break them down into small pieces and overcome each one of them. Because there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. It's another one. So if you want it, you can make it happen. And then finally, he said, keep open to new opportunities. You got these ideas, but things happen when you're in the right place at the right time, talking to the right people. Ideas come to your mind, and it's not coincidence, it's happenstance of you put yourself in that place to allow ideas to come in, and just you need to open your head, your mind to those opportunities so that when they come in, you can act on them.
We were debating this on a different episode about something that Jensen said from NVIDIA about like don't be too structured in your overall,
Mm-hmm.
and it threw us for a loop. If you go back and watch like a couple episodes ago, it threw us for a loop as we were trying to figure it out. But that pretty much summarizes what we were having trouble understanding earlier.
Yeah. So instead of planning out 5 years in advance, you should have a goal for that far ahead.
Yes.
But instead of being so rigid to say like this is the exact steps I got to be here at this time, there's no leniency for change along this route. Think this is this is my vision, what I want to see, but the mode to get there, the route may differ along the way. So you may think, oh, it's straight path, I'm gonna get there, but then you find out that you got to go side roads, learn some things, build on new theories, and ultimately still get to that same vision, but through a different route. But that's what I got from my reading yesterday. I hadn't finished my current chapter, so my notes aren't compiled. But you got anything else to add for the weekend?
No, today I try to read one book a month. That's kind of like the goal. So I've been like, new month has started, and I'm a little behind on my book. So I've been hyper focused reading on that. And there's a lot of good points on there that I need to articulate in this podcast at some point because it is really good. The Influence book. Honestly, the Influence book is probably one of my like. There's so much good information in there. It's probably one of the most useful books you can read on a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, it was good. I remember it was a while ago. I was in a training for something, and I'd go back to the hotel room and I'd just sit there and read the book because there wasn't much to do where I was at, kind of in the middle of nowhere. And it was pretty hard to read.
It's a textbook.
Yeah, it's a textbook, but it's a good book. A book a month, I think is a good goal, but I don't know about being so rigid to it, to being like, oh, I have to spend the next 12 hours, and that's exaggerating. I got to spend the next 12 hours reading this book so I can meet the deadline, where you can kind of just push it. Because some things, and this is my opinion, but I think like some things, you put the goal to stay on track, but it's not so important that you actually meet that goal.
Mm.
I don't know. That's my spin on it.
Well, yeah, I get. I think there's nothing more important than investing in yourself. And like where you and I are right now, the only reason we're sitting here right now doing this exact same thing is because of the books that led us here. And yeah, there's like podcasts and other stuff that we've listened to, but all that information is what we're talking about and what we've learned and we're building upon each day. Each day we do this podcast, Michael talks about some form of knowledge of a podcast, and we both read, and building upon that has literally shifts how we do things every single day, including the lean startup. Like lean startup, you read that, and guess what happens? We started saying, well, according to this book, we need a feedback loop, and we started talking about the feedback loops more and more. And I think that's the biggest thing that the books do, and the reason why it's so important to read at least a book a month is because that's what gives you the big changes later on. That investment in yourself, and even though you don't see results right away from it, and this is my take, but even though you don't see results right away, it does change your decisions in the course of how your life is done. And I have this quote on my dry erase board in my room. Oh my goodness. I'll have to save it for another day. But it says it's basically along the lines of, the more information you surround yourself with, the better your decisions are and the better your life is.
100%.
And so the more knowledge you have on a topic, and that's the only reason, like, I understand the importance of like these t-shirts and doing this wireframe, getting the wireframe done, and how important it is to go with speed to get it done fast. But at the same time, like that, especially in our early stages, when we're still have like, a whole entire mountain to climb, we're still at the foot of the hill. We're not even close to anywhere on that mountain, and there's so much more knowledge that is required for us to scale that. That if we don't, that the earlier we invest in ourselves on that, the faster we can climb it overall in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, I guess knowledge doesn't have to solely come from books, though. Like, you can get knowledge through making it happen. And once you come into a roadblock, you go and research kind of how to get over that roadblock or whatever you need to do to figure it out. But I guess if you got a book a month, if you take the book divided by how many like pages it's going to take per day, and you just hit that consistently, whether it be 10 pages or 20 pages or 40 pages, that way you're not sitting there for like 4 chapters because it's you got 2 days left to finish it in a month.
Yeah, I would say that the earlier part of this month, I kind of slacked a little bit on it, and so if it was more consistent, that would have been a lot more attainable.
Yeah.
But even now, I read for about 2 hours today, and while that may seem like a lot, like in the grand scheme of the entire month, really haven't read that much as
Yeah.
far as like.
I know I've missed a couple days here and there. Mine has not been as consistent as probably yours has been, but my book's also a lot shorter. So it's
I
a lot
imagine
easier it's a lot more forgiving because there's only like 6 chapters and I usually finish a whole chapter when I sit down, but
I imagine after this textbook that I'm done reading, that it'll be easier to stay on track to reading a book a month until I pick up the next big textbook that we have over there or something.
you also get to take that comparison of struggle through reading that and your next book. I feel like you have a bit more patience for.
Actually, that book, I've actually read two books in the middle of that book. I had to take a break from that book to read other books, smaller books.
Oh, so there's your book a month.
Yeah,
Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We got a little sidetracked talking about reading, but it's important too. So
yeah, it's really important.
we'll see you.